Hi, my name is Casey Kirkendall. This is going to be the letter to my former school portion of my final portfolio for my Teach 330 multicultural education class. And the school that I'm going to be talking to you about today is Westwood Community School District in Sloan, Iowa. And the best way I would describe my high school would be from a small farming community in northwest Iowa. It's going to be a lot like a small farming community in Nebraska, pretty much the exact same. Very monocultural, dominant European American student body. We did have three students of a different race. They were three Hispanic students from the same family, all brothers and sisters. And so one of the pros of my high school that I feel like we really did well is we did have a very approachable staff and administration. I feel like if the students ever had any kind of problem, they did not have a problem going up and talking to the teacher about it. And so the staff was all very friendly, and if there was a problem and something did need to be done to fix it, you could almost count on that it was going to be done in a timely manner too. And for this reason, another pro that we had was we did not have a lot of bullying because the teachers and also the students did not allow this to happen. They were very involved in the lives of their students, and so any kind of disagreements at all between the students ever, any picking on, was always cut short almost immediately. And so when I watch the bully video and when I see what happened to Jamie, I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is terrible. I'm so sheltered growing up where I grew up, where I'm not exposed to bullying, and I cannot believe that any human being would ever let this happen to somebody. And so I really hope my school never changes in that fact. I hope that the students continue to treat each other with respect and not encourage bullying, because it makes me sick to see what happened to him. And one reason I think for that is maybe students are scared to step out of line almost because the parents have such a good relationship with the staff as well. I mean, I know most of my teachers had my parents on speed dial. They're on a first name basis. They're on my first name basis with my grandparents, brothers and sisters. Okay, it's a small town. They don't have a lot of kids to know. They can get that comfortable with your family, and so that was one thing we did well. That was another reason we had a great sense of community, which is something else that I feel like is a great pro coming from a small town, especially mine, that was unfortunately struck with a lot of tragedy throughout the years. I lost several classmates due to accidents, a lot of serious injuries. By the time I was in high school, we had one of my fellow classmates was paralyzed and placed in a wheelchair during a vehicle accident, and my community actually came together and within the span of 3 to 4 months had built him a completely new home that was completely handicap accessible that he could live in free of charge, built on donations through my community. And to me, that is just incredible. I couldn't imagine anything like that ever happening, and here we did it in 3 to 4 months. By the time he got out of the hospital, he had a place to go live. And so I really thought that was a great example to share of how close my community was. And so one of the cons of my community is that we really didn't have a lot of diversity, and nothing to really challenge us to think with diversity. We did not have a good multicultural education program in this school, and I think it's just because we hadn't been exposed to a lot of the diversity, and I hadn't been exposed to hardly any diversity until I moved here to Lincoln. I came to UNL. I saw all these different kinds of people, and I was almost in like a culture shock, like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe that there are this many different kinds of people, just from even America, just from different parts of living in big cities, living in small towns, everything like that. So I really think we need to do better to celebrate diversity, even if we don't necessarily have it in our school, being very monocultural, being very, um, everybody practices the same religion. I mean, we've got the biggest religious debate we have is between the Catholics and the Lutherans. Okay, so that's really as far as it goes. Everybody's a Christian. Nobody feels afraid to pray in school, and so maybe we need to celebrate more diversity. We need to, and teach kids about it at a younger age. Encourage them to research other cultures and just realize that it's okay to be an individual. We don't have to be colorblind. We don't have to just be, okay, I'm going to be nice to you and that's enough, because even though I know you're a different color, I'm going to treat you the same. But nice isn't enough. It's important to celebrate the culture and to really make people feel proud of where they come from, because they really should. And so another disadvantage, con of my school was it was kind of cliquey. With so few students, everybody kind of knew everybody's business, and so sometimes kids were forced to choose sides of issues. And this didn't really lead to fights necessarily, but just kind of different groups of friends that would kind of, situate themselves in different places in the lunchroom. I mean, that's where to me it was most obvious. So I think as an administration or teachers, even students, it needs to just, it's kind of hard in a small town when everybody knows everybody's business and everybody gets to form an opinion so fast about everybody. It's kind of hard to avoid those cliques, but I really think if there's a way to fight them, that we should find out what it is. Another disadvantage I would say that my school had was there really wasn't a lot of options as far as language education. We did offer Spanish, but people were afraid to take the course because of how hard it was graded and how hard the Spanish actually was. In my opinion, we had a great Spanish teacher. She was very adamant about celebrating culture and celebrating different parts of the world where Spanish comes from, being Mexico, Spain, Chile, Colombia, all these different places. She would give lessons about their culture and how, she would make their food that they make in these countries and stuff. But I would say 10% of the students at most took these classes, 7, 8 students at a time, just because they were scared to lower their GPAs. They were scared to try something new. So if anything, I think we need to encourage students to try something new, to get a new language, maybe offer more languages, maybe go with a German, a Spanish, a French, a Chinese. I mean, just get a little diversity and encourage the kids to try that. And so I think and there's obviously a ton of things a school could do to improve, but I really think as a bottom line is to just celebrate culture and celebrate where people come from, and don't make people feel ashamed to celebrate who they really are. Because it is important. It is important to feel proud of where you come from, and just because somebody is a different color than us, we shouldn't just be like, oh, okay, well, I know you're a different color, but I'm colorblind. I don't see that. I'm gonna treat you the same. When really you shouldn't. You should celebrate where you come from and be proud of who you are.